8.6 is on writing and graphing inequalities. What you need to remember about inequalities is one thing. Anytime you hear the term inequalities, this right here is what I want you to think of as the comparing symbols. Okay, they're greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. So when you hear the term inequalities, you need to think of the comparing symbols. All it is, inequalities is a mathematical sentence containing the comparing symbols. As mentioned, we're going to go ahead and write inequalities and graph inequalities, so we need to know the signs. 4 signs here that they have. What you need to know about the signs when you graph the inequality is that the first sign that we have here is a less than sign. It's going to have an open circle and the values not included. Now, make sure you write this down. This is a great little key for you. Open circle, value not included. Right now it might make a whole lot of sense, but in the end it will. Next one is a greater than sign, and it has an open circle and the value is not included. Less than or equal to has a closed circle, and closed circles mean that the value is included. Last example, or I should say our last sign here, we have a greater than or equal to, and that also has a closed circle, meaning the value included. This is a great little key here that you'll want to refer back to. So here we go. We're going to write and graph the inequality. Sports. Members of a Little League team must be under 14 years old. Write and graph an inequality for the sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and underline some little things here. In order to be a member of a Little League team, you must be under 14 years old. So I'm going to say we know we have to have a variable and we have to have the other piece of information here. I'm going to say that A represents age, okay, because we have 14. 14 is talking about an age. So your age has to be something in comparison to 14. And you might need to reread these a couple times. Members of a Little League team must be under 14 years old. They must be under 14 years old. So in order for that person to play, it has to be under 14 years old. So your age, A, has to be less than 14 years old. And another way to check this out is, substitute a value. Come up with an actual age that must be under 14. So come up with an age that is under 14. Well, what would it be? 13. 13 is less than 14. It's a true statement. So that's another way to double check to determine which way your sign is going to go. So next, we're going to have to go ahead and graph this. And when we graph it, we're going to graph on a number line. So here is 14 years old, 15, and we know 13 is behind 14. Now you look back at that key there. You have a less than sign. If you look at the key, a less than sign has an open circle. So this is what an open circle will look like. It means that the value is not included, which is it's on 14, so 14 is not included. Now you need to determine which way the arrow should go, to the left or to the right. Well, that all dictates about the information above. We know it should go to the left because these are the kids that are under 14 years old. Next example, construction. The ladder must be over 30 feet tall to reach the top of the building. Must be over 30 feet tall. So I'm going to say L is the ladder height. L has to be something in comparison to 30. And it said it must be over. Over would be greater. So your L, your ladder height, has to be greater than 30 feet tall. Again, go ahead and graph. Here's 30, 31, and 29. L, your ladder height, has to be greater than 30. It's a greater than sign, therefore it is an open circle, and the values to the right would be greater than 30. Example 3. I'm going to let you go ahead. Well, actually, we'll do it here together. Politics, the President of the United States must be at least 35 years old. So I'm going to say, and then it says write and graph an inequality for the sentence. So the president, P, and this would be president's age. So P has to be something in comparison to 35. Well, above it said it must be at least 35. So they can be 35. If it can be 35, it's going to be equal to, and that president's age must be, so it has to be at least 35. So the age of the president's age would have to be greater than, there's that little alligator mouth. It eats the bigger number, like I talked about in 2nd grade when you had this. The alligator eats the bigger number. Here's his teeth. He's mean. Here's 35, 36, and 34. Now if we look at that, that is a greater than or equal to sign. It would have a closed circle, and the arrow would go to the right. Those are the values that would make it a true statement. And a way to check is put something in. Well, in for P, 40. 40 is greater than. That would be to the right. I want you to go ahead and pause the video, work through it, give this example 4 a shot, and check back in. Alright, it says a movie theater can hold a maximum of 300 people. Write in graph an inequality for the sentence. P represents the number of people that the theater can hold. We have our number line over here. Now we need to determine P represents the number of people for the movie theater. We know that the maximum it can hold is 300 people. So it can hold equal to 300 people. The number of people, P, however, has to be less than 300. Okay, you cannot hold more than 300 people. So if we look at this here, it is a closed circle again, less than or equal to. Determine, if you're not sure if where the arrow goes, left or right, we'll put in a value for P that would make this work. Well, we know 200 is less than or equal to 300, so therefore 200 is to the left on that number line. Example 5, for the given value, state whether inequality is true or false. Basically what you need to determine, is it a true statement or a false statement? So you have x minus 4 is less than 6. It tells you that x equals 0. So you're going to substitute 0 in for x. So we have 0 minus 4 is less than 6. When you do your operation or calculation here, 0 take away 4 is negative 4 is less than 6. This is a true statement. Example 6, very similar to the previous one. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, work through it. Alright, now we're back. We should have substituted 1 in for x is less than or equal to 4. 3 times 1 is 3, is less than or equal to 4, or sorry, greater than or equal to 4. 3 is not greater than or equal to 4, so this statement would be false. This will conclude our lesson 8.6, writing and solving inequalities, writing and graphing inequalities.